Students across the Anoka-Hennepin School District took time to honor the men and women who have served or are currently serving our country this Veterans Day on November 11th.
Anoka-Hennepin students learn about values such as the importance of voting, volunteerism, and being a good citizen through participation in events such as Veterans Day in November and Citizenship Day in September. Students also learn about the U.S. government and social studies units and classes.
Teresa Panessa, teaching and learning specialist for the district, had this to say on what Veterans Day teaches students and why it's important.
Veterans Day provides students with an opportunity to learn about the men and women who protect our country. They learn about those who served our country in the past, as well as those who are currently making sacrifices for our freedom. Recognizing Veterans Day demonstrates the importance of stopping to give thanks to those men and women, many of which are mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, grandparents in our community in Anoka-Hennepin.
Up next, we'll take a look at event coverage submitted from Andover, Franklin, Hamilton, Ramsey, Rum River, Sand Creek, and Wilson elementary schools, and from Champlin Brooklyn Park Academy and Anoka High School.
Andover Elementary School second graders, along with the fifth grade classrooms of Laura Bratlin and Karen Stong, wrote letters to veterans thanking them for their years of service. Some of the letters were delivered in the Veterans Hospital in Minneapolis, and others were placed on tables at the Riverdale Applebee's for all to read on Veterans Day.
Jan Branny's second grade classroom participated in an Adopt a Soldier program. Branny students, along with the classrooms of Laura Bratland, 5th grade, and Sue Casey, 3rd grade, received a visit from a participating soldier and veteran on November 11th who shared ideas about Veterans Day.
Joanne Miller's second grade class created a wonderful display to recognize veterans. Many classrooms also received a visit from Mr. Galini, a retired Andover elementary custodian and veteran.
Up next is Anoka High School. Anoka acknowledged Veterans Day with an assembly, put together with the help of the National Guard. The assembly, a first for the school, featured keynote speaker Major General John L. Trost, Deputy Commanding General of the Army National Guard.
Trost is one of the highest-ranking officials in the nation and has connections to the district. He taught at Coon Rapids High School and his daughter graduated from Anoka High School. Trost spoke about how men and women have defended our country for more than 200 years without regard for hardship or sacrifice.
He also recognized 1998 Anoka High School graduate Adam Peterson, who earned a Combat Action Badge for engaging the enemy while serving in Iraq.
The assembly also featured speeches from students about respect for the flag and why Veterans Day is celebrated. School staff members who are also veterans were recognized, as well as the 5 branches of the U.S. Armed Services.
Up next is Champlin Brooklyn Park Academy. 9 veterans greeted children at Champlin Brooklyn Park with handshakes and high fives as they arrived at school on November 11th. The veterans, many who were from the Champlin American Legion, then visited the school's 32 classrooms and ate lunch with 5th grade students.
Bonnie Graving, head secretary at the school, said the students had prepared for the day in their character education classes taught by para-educator Dana Berg. During the classes, they read the book The Wall about the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The Black Wall, located in Washington, D.C., lists 58,000 names of military members who gave their lives or are missing in action.
Students were also encouraged to talk with their parents and guardians about the veterans and their families. They were given a sheet to fill out with the names of people in their family who served in the armed forces. Each name was written on a flag and posted on a huge poster on the wall at the school. The poster represented more than 650 names of veterans who served in students' families. One student learned she had 13 family members who have served in the armed forces.
Graving said students were also very excited to celebrate staff members who are retired veterans. Butch Hathaway Jr., physical education teacher, Navy, Timothy Carlson, media generalist, Air Force, and Joseph Pognes, Army.
Hathaway, an Anoka High School graduate, said it was phenomenal to see the kids' faces light up when greeted by the veterans.
Up next is Franklin, Hamilton, and Ramsey elementary schools. Franklin honored those who served or are currently serving the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Merchant Marines with a display of photos and memorabilia in the first-floor hallway of the school. Photos and memorabilia were on display through November.
Some Franklin 4th graders also visited the Golden Living Care Center on November 11th to spend time with veterans and hear stories about their service to our country.
At Hamilton Elementary School, kindergartners proudly wore badges indicating that they have family members who are veterans on Veterans Day.
The badges were designed by Carol Peterson, Hamilton Elementary School kindergarten teacher. More than 400 badges were distributed to Hamilton classroom teachers who requested them for other students to wear.
Ramsey Elementary School received a visit from Harry Nelson, a World War II veteran on Veterans Day. He described some of his experiences of World War II to students. Nelson was born in 1917 and drafted into the Army in 1942.
In 1944, he was wounded in action and subsequently received a Purple Heart Medal and won a Silver Star. Nelson then became a chaplain's assistant. He left the Army in 1945 and spent 60 years living and working in Richfield, Minnesota.
Up next is Sand Creek and Wilson Elementary Schools. Sand Creek Elementary School 4th and 5th graders heard from former pilot Edward Anderson about his World War II experiences in a series of Veterans Day presentations on November 11th. Anderson, 87, lives in Coon Rapids and has just started to volunteer in the school.
Students at Wilson Elementary School were treated to a special Veterans Day program featuring 2 members of the Minnesota National Guard's 34th Infantry Division. Command Sergeant Major Daniel Lancaster and Private First Class Dowie Nagel spoke to Wilson students about what it means to serve in today's military and why we honor veterans for their service. Students were able to ask questions and try on the soldiers' gear.
In addition to participating in the presentation, staff and students created a Veterans Day museum full of memorabilia belonging to veterans close to their hearts. Wilson 4th grade teacher Jennifer Keller, a veteran herself, organized the program as well as the museum.
Up next is Rum River Elementary School. Rum River hosted a special program to honor and thank veterans and active military personnel for their service on Veterans Day. We were fortunate enough to receive video of the program, which has been woven into this episode.
Rum River's program opened with a presentation of the flag by American Legion Honor Guard members, the Pledge of Allegiance led by 2nd grade students, and an introduction of veterans and active military personnel in attendance. 3rd grade students then performed the songs My Country 'Tis of Thee and You're a Grand Old Flag.
The Anoka American Legion Honor Guard carefully folded a U.S. flag, which was flown over Mount Vernon, the home of President George Washington, and placed it in a special frame for display in the school. Students presented thank you cards that they created along with small U.S. flags to the Honor Guard and other veterans and active military personnel during the program. A special plaque was also presented by the Rum River Assistant Principal to the Honor Guard and to the American Legion in recognition of service.
The program ended with a musical performance of taps on the trumpet by an Anoka High School student. Taps is used by the U.S. military nightly to indicate it's lights out.
The special program, a first for the school, was organized by Renee Blue, Rum River kindergarten teacher. Organizing a program was very special for Blue because her father and 2 brothers served in the Army. The Veterans Day program was awesome, said Blue. I did not know how heartfelt it would be.
Teresa Panessa, teaching and learning specialist for the district, was in attendance at Rum River's program.
One special moment really stands out in my mind from the Veterans Day celebrations, and that is the image of the students. In particular, I'm thinking of a young girl, maybe 6 years old, walking up to her grandfather and presenting him with an American flag and giving him a big hug and thanking him for his service. And all of the veterans received a flag that day and a hug from one of the students because they were personally invited as a family member. And it was just really touching to see that gratitude and to see the response from the veterans with just such pride that they so deserve on that day, their holiday.